This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Everyone needs to unload to someone who's unbiased and who isn't judging. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny and unload the stress.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Kinda Funny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at Kinda Funny. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, SnowBikeMike, and today I'm joined by one of my gaming dads, my guy, Parris Lilly, taking over. We said, Gary, go take the weekend off, watch a bunch of football, soccer out there, depending on where you are in the world. But it's just you and I, Parris. How you feeling today?
Great. And like you said, we're missing Gary. See, I just assumed he's with Keanu Reeves on the Matrix 4 set right now.
Look,
I'm going to tell you right now, that has consumed my mind this entire week that he just casually just dropped, oh, yeah, by the way, I was on the Matrix 4 set. I'm like, wait, what? So, yeah, missing Gary. But
Parris, here's the thing, is that, like, yeah, Gary's got that cool side of his life where he gets to go to cool movie sets. But then he's got the other side of his life where he's not doing shows because he's being a jabroni in his own room watching soccer games. And that's 100% what he's doing right now.
Oh, 100%. I've seen the tweets. That's absolutely what he's doing. I miss Gary, though.
He's having a blast. He's hoping they bring it home. So we'll cheer him on. Hope he's enjoying that. And we miss him. We'll see him next week. But this week, you and I, Parris, we get to hang out. We get to talk all things Xbox, and we have a really, really cool interview in the middle of the show. We have Mark Foster and David Fenn from Acid Nerve, creators of Titan Souls and the upcoming action-adventure game Death's Door. We're going to have an interview with them, talk all about the game, and get to learn a little bit from behind the side, or behind those two minds over there, which will be a ton of fun. But, Parris, to kick off the show, since it's just you and I, what the heck have you been playing? How was your holiday weekend? What's happening over there?
Holiday's been good. Actually, I've still been playing Doom Eternal. That's kind of been consuming me. That new ray tracing and DLSS upgrade that they put on PC has just been fantastic. I mean, the games just look so good to play. And like Gary was saying last week, the only thing that I really can complain about is just having the jumping sections in there. It's just, I was like, what? That's not Doom. We don't need that. So other than that, it's been a lot of fun. Still been playing Sea of Thieves. I unfortunately missed when you did the stream with Greg. I've had a work emergency. If anyone knows what Kaseya is, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been dealing with that all week. So unfortunately, I couldn't be playing games and actually working at the same time. So I missed out on that. But that's been the two things I've been playing mostly. I jumped back into Ratchet and Clank again, just because that game's great and it's a ton of fun to play. So it's been pretty much it this week for me.
Those are some good games right there, Parris. Those are some good games. And it's funny you bring up Sea of Thieves because it has been wild to be with Greg over these past couple of weeks and see his love rekindled and emerge for Sea of Thieves, where it's like he's all about it. We actually beat Pirate's Tale 4 and 5. So he's now completed the fun updates, and now we get to go set sail and do everything else in the game, which will be really cool. And next week I'm going to try to get him into Grounded, Parris. So I'm really excited to see what he thinks of Grounded. I think we'll have a ton of fun with that one. But yeah, that Doom Eternal update is calling me, Parris. I really am excited to see what that's all about. And it's funny, you and Gary always talk about the platforming, and it makes me think of, like, is that the only thing they could have added, right? Because they probably looked at each other in studios like, man, we got a lot of mindlessly killing things and it's going so great, but we need to cool down for a little bit. What can we add? And I think platforming might be the only thing. I don't think you're going to put a bunch of puzzle solving mechanics in there, right?
I think I would have rather had some puzzle solving than the platform jumping. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's a minor thing. If I had any other tiny complaint, is I started playing it on Steam when I originally started. So I'm not playing it through the Xbox app on PC, which means my progress won't transfer to console. So it's a gap there where if I want to go hop on the Series X and play it, I'll lose all my progress and start it. And honestly, I think I might just do that at some point because I do want to see how it plays on the Series X with the various modes. Because I believe there's that ray tracing mode. There's just, you know, the standard one and another performance mode just to kind of just see how they compare.
Yeah, I got to check that out this weekend. I've actually had a pretty fun week of games. We played Sea of Thieves with Greg. I got Nick and Andy Cortez to play Halo Master Chief Collection with me.
Nice.
One of the first times Nick has ever played a Halo game and Halo multiplayer. So it's really cool. Like that Master Chief Collection, Parris, is something special, right? And I think everybody knows that listening to this podcast, but it is really cool of like, you can jump in, you pick the game modes you want, you pick the different Halos that you want out of the franchise. And it's just cool to like jump in, let that thing ride, right? To take you from Halo 4 to Halo 1, then 2 and 3 in between. Reach is like, man, this is a really cool time and a really well done piece of work they've done.
No, absolutely. And, you know, it obviously launched a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And that was that 2014 or 2015? I can't remember now, but it's been around for a while. But to see to where it is now, obviously they've integrated Reach into it. And you see how seamless everything, which clearly was the original vision. It's all on PC now as well. I remember when I was jumping back into it when Halo 3 first came to PC and they integrated it in there. I mean, yeah, it's been phenomenal. If anything, I probably need to join you guys and jump back in and play. It's actually been a minute since I've jumped on the Master Chief Collection, but yeah, it's in a really good place right now, and knock on wood, hopefully this is a good sign for Halo Infinite when it comes out later this year.
No doubt, Pat. I'd love to have you join us, and it's really cool because you have crossplay, right? It's on Game Pass, it's on Steam, and they have PC keyboard and mouse support, right? And so here I am. I've been playing a lot of keyboard and mouse on Call of Duty Warzone, and I was like, man, maybe I'll try to find the flow in Halo and Battlefield coming up, and I plugged it in. And funny enough, Parris, I played one match and I was like, nope, I'm going right back to controller. I can't do it. It's not me. It's not me. It's not Halo.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you bring that up, not to sidetrack the conversation, but when you look at the quote unquote overall vision of what Xbox is trying to do, I think the Master Chief kind of just I can't even say it. It encapsulates everything that they're trying to say, because it's on the consoles, it's on PC, it's on the cloud. It has full cross-play, like everything, mouse and keyboard, controller, whatever you want to do, however you want to play the Master Chief Collection on whatever platform you want to play it on, device you want to play it on, it's there and you can do it. And I think when you look long-term, the vision of what Xbox is trying to do right now, that's kind of the flagship game or games, however you want to say it, that shows off that capability.
That's really well said. And it's the truth, right, Parris? You went down the list, like, that does have it all, and it shows off everything they can do. It's only missing one thing, though, Parris. Halo 5. What the heck are we doing with Halo 5 on this island, my guy? What is it going to stay out there forever? Are they going to bring it in eventually? What are they doing with this like awkward stepchild field? What are they doing with Halo 5?
It's funny you say that, because I don't even know where I was. I'm always on the internet reading what people are thinking about gaming, and someone had said that. They were like, I love the Master Chief Collection, but why isn't Halo 5 a part of it? And I was like, yeah, why isn't Halo 5 a part of it? I don't know. Maybe they're just waiting. Maybe there's going to be some big announcement or something, and they integrated in there this holiday alongside Halo Infinite when that comes out. Who knows?
I would love to see it come to PC. Maybe that's what they're waiting for, is like having a PC port and bringing it all together. That would be dope.
Yep, I agree.
It's so interesting because like the window is closing, right, as we start to get ready for Halo Infinite. It's like, do you announce something like that between this window? Is that, hey, Halo Infinite's now out, we finally figured out, we put it over there? But yeah, Halo 5 as well, Parris. You know, I grew up with Halo 2 and Halo 3 were like the biggest games in my life, and I love those multiplayer. But I gotta say, Halo 5 multiplayer is probably my favorite Halo multiplayer. I think they really dialed it in and absolutely crushed it with the game modes and the mechanics. And I love everything that has to do with Halo 5 multiplayer. So it is odd that it's like, you jump from 1 to 4 and Reach and everything in between. It's just like, well, where's 5? Like, why isn't 5 in the mix right now? Let's get it going, because it would feel so right in all of that.
Yeah, earlier this year, I went back and played the campaign and obviously gave my opinion at that time. But you mentioned the multiplayer, and I've not revisited that multiplayer in a really long time. I probably should. I remember when it first came out, I really liked Warzone and some of the things that were happening in there. And that's never been the complaint was Halo 5 multiplayer. It obviously was a lot of stuff with the story, with the campaign. But yeah, again, we're talking so much Halo. I'm talking about the Master Chief Collection. It definitely sounds like I just need to jump back in and start playing more, which, I mean, you may have probably going to bring this up as a news item, but I'll just say it now. I mean, I've really been seeing, the Halo account, and I know Brian Gerard and some other people over at 343 Real and Pumping. Hey, sign up on Insider because those flights are coming for Halo Infinite. And I made sure I got signed up because I want to be there day one. Start checking that stuff out. Really looking forward to all of that.
No doubt, Parris. That's a great call out for all of our best friends in the community out there. It's like, if you're interested in this, go sign up. And they made it really, really easy to do it. Of course, like you sign up and you can put your Xbox gamer tag in there. But on the PC side, they want to know your specs, right? And like, I'm not the biggest hardware guy. I don't know them off the top of my head. But it's really cool. It's like, it will run the diagnostic for you and just tell you your specs and take it from you. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, that's great to know. And then I'm signed up for both, just in case. I'm just crossing my fingers for one of them,
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to try it on PC. I want to try it on everything. I just want to see how it runs through the flight. And obviously, because again, the whole point of this is to help 343 be able to get feedback from us so that when we do get to the holiday, when it's supposed to launch, they can make it the best multiplayer it possibly can be. So I definitely encourage everyone, go out there. Even if you're not a Halo fan and you're just curious, sign up, try it out. And you might see if it's for you or not, so they can iterate on it and fix any issues that they see during the beta or the flights. So when it comes out, it'll be awesome because I want it to be awesome.
I want it to be awesome, Parris. And I'm looking at the calendar right now. We're in July. We are halfway through the year and we are right looking at the back half. And it's going to get exciting. It's going to get jam-packed with games. And I can't wait. The final game I played this week was Space Jam: A New Legacy, the game. Because, of course, it's part of the Xbox Game Pass perks. I was like, you know what? I'll download it. You get it for free a couple weeks early before it comes to Game Pass, the service. And I was like, you know what? I'll check it out. And it's just a generic side-scrolling, beat-em-up Space Jam game. Takes about 55 minutes to complete if you're dying a couple of times. But it wasn't anything special, Parris. I don't think it's anything to run and download and go check out, right? Very minimal voice acting. You have Lola, Bugs, and LeBron, and they're just kind of walking around beating different robots up and going after Algae Rhythm, which is a pretty fun name for Don Shield. I thought that was pretty cute. But, it's skippable. But I think for me, Parris, it has that couch co-op where it's like if you had kids and they were interested in Space Jam or they're going to get excited for next week when this comes out, you could turn this on and play for an hour, and I think everybody would smile,
Yeah, and that's the whole point of it. No one's expecting this to be a Game of the Year contender or anything else. It's just, part of the promotion for the movie. We get it.
No doubt. It is cool to see LeBron James in the game, though. I do. Yeah. I'm such a big LeBron James guy that's just like, oh, yeah, put Bronny in anything. I'm there for sure. Parris, let's jump into the show and have some fun because we got a cool one to kick us off. So, of course, this is the Kind of Funny Xcast. We post each and every Saturday at 6 a.m. Pacific time on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and of course on podcast services around the globe. Here's a quick one for you. Last weekend actually, we all went down to San Francisco and met as a team, all of Kind of Funny, all of the full-timers got to get together and see the new studio, where it's at, what's going on. And we made a fun video teasing everybody about the spare bedroom. So if you're excited about that, you can catch it on all of the YouTubes, on all of our social medias, see the fun hype video that Tim Gettys and the team created, and get excited for what will be January and Kind of Funny Day when we unveil that brand new studio. It's going to be one of a kind and really something special. So we're really excited to show that off.
Not all the full timers,
Yeah. Barrett was sick. We really missed Barrett. It was a tough
the
one
entire
there.
city of Cleveland that gave me one of the worst colds. But yeah, it hurt. But
now I have to comment. I have to comment on this too. As a part timer, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that picture, the FOMO was real.
Yeah.
I had so much FOMO when I saw that. And then when I'm being serious again. When I saw that video this morning of the announcement for the studio and the date, and I saw it was January 3rd, 2021, I will be there January 3rd, 2021. Whether
2022 Paris. You got to get in that 2022, bro. That's how much time we have lost, Paris.
Oh my God, COVID has screwed me up. Yeah, 2022. No, but seriously, January 3rd, 2022. I'm going to be there. I want to be there.
Yeah,
I definitely want to be there for that. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
It's so exciting because not much information has been shared about what that studio and that space will look like. But walking in there and being around that team was really inspirational. It was really something special for me, leaving my job and joining this team full time. Yeah. I always looked at Greg, Tim, Nick, and the whole crew of like, is this for real? Is this going to be a real thing? And they always laughed and they said, you just wait, Mike. It's going to be something special. And I think everybody's going to be really excited to see what Tim and this team have created down there But of course, we want to thank our Patreon producers who help make that all possible, make this, the Kind of Funny Xcast, all possible. So thank you to Marcus Stanford, Tyler Ross, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, Casey Andrew, and Elliot. Of course, this episode of the Kind of Funny Xcast is sponsored by Purple Mattress, Fitbod, and BetterHelp. But we'll tell you all about that in a little bit. Let's jump into the show and have some fun, because this week it's been nothing but fun. We're coming off of the holiday break. We kicked it off on a Tuesday, and Parris, I don't think I was ready to go back to the 90s. I'm a guy who listens to Sunday nights. Get it on right now, because I'll hype him up. Put it on right now. I'm a guy who loves Sunday night slow jams. I listen to all of my favorite R&B slow jams each and every week on Sunday, and I wasn't ready for what Xbox and that marketing team brought out this week. And of course, I want to talk about All For One teaming up with the Xbox squad to make It's All There, a remix of I Swear. Now, we're playing this on, for all the YouTube kids out there, if you haven't heard it, if you haven't seen it, if you're listening on podcast services, pull the car over, stop what you're doing, go check it out on their social medias and on YouTube. All For One, I Swear, remixed into It's All There. Parris, it was a Tuesday morning wake up. You're rocking the jacket. What did you think of this combo?
It's so funny when I saw that commercial or video, I go, wait, what? And I go, oh, this is hilarious. This is so cheesy that it's great, right? To bring back All For One. Look, I'm from that era. Look, that was the slow jam music. Everyone had the mixtape. Everyone had that song on there back in the day. So it was great to hit that nostalgia of it, because that is just classic 90s. And then Xbox, obviously I'm wearing the jacket right now. Xbox sent me this jacket. My name's on it, the whole thing. So I want to thank Xbox for that. And they also sent me a Series S as well, because the Series S looks like a boombox, so it made perfect sense. So
yes, that's
I do
funny.
appreciate that. Yeah, but yeah, it was really cool. It was a lot of fun to see that, and it was great to see the community as a whole just embrace it for what it was. Fun. It was fun. That's the whole point of all of it, right? It was fun. We all got a good laugh out of it. I'm sure the Xbox marketing team had a bunch of high fives, because whoever came up with that idea looks like a genius, because everyone embraced it. People my age, we loved it. But even you youngsters like yourself, Mike, you got to see it, and you got it. You understood what they were going for. So I thought it was a win for them. It was great. A lot of fun.
Honestly, I'm gonna be serious with you guys right here. I didn't know that this was a real group until we started recording.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you know, Bear.
Yeah,
now
I'm
know.
I'm a young kid, Mike. You know what I'm saying? 26 years old. Like, I was growing up with Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. I didn't know anybody before them, you know?
I'll tell you what, Bear. If you ever are in the car with me on Sunday, we'll put on our dubs and we'll listen to Sunday Night Slow Jam. I listen every week. We'll have a great time, because All For One, I Swear, and another one, I Can Love You Like That. A lot of people don't remember I Can Love You Like That, and that's a great song as well. But Parris, to bring it back, of course, this was promoting Xbox All Access,
yes.
right? I think we get lost and we're having fun, but like, it was a great way to show off Xbox All Access and celebrate that program. And I think that was one you and I and Gary, we really talked about leading up to the console launch. And maybe it's been lost in translation. Maybe we haven't talked about it that much, but this is a program that's out there where people can get, an Xbox Series X and or S and 24 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for a low monthly fee of $24.99 or $34.99 for 2 full years. And this is something that's like, does this get lost in translation, Parris? Is this an awesome program? Where's Xbox All Access fall for you?
Yeah, it's interesting, because we obviously talked about this a lot before the launch of the Series X and the S, because, yeah, it's a great program. I think the fact that there's been such a shortage on consoles, both Xbox and PlayStation, they're very hard to find. I think it's just not something people were talking about, because how are you going to take advantage of it if you can't get a hold of a console? So maybe this is a good sign that we'll start to see some more consoles out there in the market. So they're kind of using this to kick off that discussion of, hey, remember, All Access is a great program that we have. But I do agree with you. Nobody was talking about that. We all talked about the group, and we talked about, just how fun it was to see, the 90s, nostalgia that came out of it, and not the actual point of, hey, Xbox has this great program that can ease you into getting a console, getting on the Game Pass at a very affordable monthly price. So maybe there'll be some follow up to this over the summer where they'll talk about it more straightforward. Like, hey, look, here's this great program we have. Here's how it works. Here's how you can take advantage of it. Because look, if you keep rolling out all for one, that's all we're going to care about. We're just going to care about all for one.
Yeah.
We're not going to look at the program. So it'd be interesting to see what they do moving.
It's so interesting of right now where Xbox is at. They're kind of shifting the conversation and how we think about gaming, right? You, me, and Gary talked about like we're just accustomed to paying $400, $500 for a console outright, right? That's how it's always been. And then Xbox creates this. We've been accustomed to buying games for $50, $60, $70 now. And now they come out with Game Pass. And it's one of those of like, when will this catch on? When will this become something you look at and go, oh, that's the norm. This is what I like. This is how it goes. Because, man, it is so interesting. If I rewound time, it's like, man, that all access program was totally for me, right? When I was 18 to 25 years old and I was living paycheck to paycheck and I was working my job, it's like, this would have saved me a lot of moments where it's like, man, I don't know how I'm going to make it for the next week and a half because I really wanted this console, but this would have helped out. And it's funny, I've done it so many times with my phone now over at Verizon. They sell me my iPhone in monthly installments on my bill, and I don't even think twice about it. And now they're doing it on the consoles. And I was like, man, I guess this is just something my brain hasn't wrapped around yet.
I mean, I look at it this way. Broke 19-year-old Navy Parris would have loved this because what is it? I think the Series X with Game Pass is what, $35 a month, right?
35 is correct.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like even at the quote unquote high end, someone that, you don't have a lot of disposable income, that's reasonable to be able to get you in the door to be able to start playing these games. And then, like I said, you're able to do it on the Series X. You get Game Pass, it gives you access to all these different games. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And but again, it's an option. You don't have to do it. Obviously, you can still go buy the consoles for what is it, $299 and $499, and still buy the games at $60, $70 a pop if you so choose. But look, I'm a cheapskate. I like good deals. To me, it seems like a great deal.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to see how they've created this. And so on top of All for One returning for this remix, we also had Xbox with a little fun little marketing photo and a little Nickelback reference. So if Barrett will bring that up for me, you saw, look at this photograph. And this photograph actually is something different than we've ever seen before. You can see us playing on the cloud gaming and with a PlayStation controller pair. So a pretty fun one here from Xbox Game Pass and that Twitter account of, just this marketing. And that's what I want to get into next. But what did you think of this little fun one here?
I think it's smart. And it reinforces something that I know we've talked about for a while. Xbox doesn't care where you play their games as long as you do it in their ecosystem. Hey, if you're subscribing to Game Pass and you want to pick up a ColecoVision controller to be able to interact with the game, they don't care. It doesn't matter. They don't care if you own the console or own the quote unquote their accessories. As long as you're in their ecosystem engaging with their games, that's all that matters. That's why you can do it on console. That's why you can do it on PC. That's why now with cloud, you're going to be able to do it on all these different, mobile devices, PC, eventually smart TVs, all of that. It's just about getting more people into their ecosystem, into the quote unquote Xbox community. So to show someone engaging with a game holding a PlayStation controller, that's their long game. If it was up to Xbox, Game Pass would be on PlayStation. That's just a fact. They don't care. It's about, hey, you're subscribing. You can now play our games on whatever device you want. That's all they care about. So there's probably some multiverse where Game Pass is on the Switch and it is on the PlayStation 5. And I'm sure, again, everyone over there at Xbox is doing high fives because that's all that matters to them.
All that matters is right, Parris, getting you in and having fun. And that was something you brought up, was the fun factor, right? Yeah. And that's what I wanted to do, kind of steer this conversation and pick your brain about. We've talked about Xbox since the beginning of the launch and a little bit before the launch of kind of this social media presence and how, we talk about Phil Spencer and his team and how engaging they are, but we talk about this fun factor and what they're doing here in the marketing and in the social aspect. And I wanted to pick your brain about how much does that matter to you as a consumer? How far does that really go into selling consoles? And does the fun factor really kind of add a little extra, maybe the X factor into the whole campaign of marketing video games and being a part of the community?
See, I think that's an interesting one to me because you and I, probably a lot of people that watch this show, we're very engaged in the social media. We're heavy into social media, so we see that stuff. I always use my wife as the gauge when it comes to this stuff because my wife is not in any of this stuff at all. She's not into social media, any of this stuff. So her seeing a funny all for one video on Facebook or wherever it may show, I don't think that's going to be the thing that pushes her over the edge to want to go buy a console or something like that. And I'm sure, look, I like to call them the housewives of Temecula. The housewives of Temecula, they're looking at this, they don't care. They're not that they don't care, but it's not moving the needle for them is what I'm trying to say. So I think for us it does, because again, we're very self-aware, we're very engaged into this stuff. But I think for the average person, that's not the marketing thing that's going to grab them. They might think it's funny, they might think it's cool, but I don't think that's going to be the thing that say, well, you know what, honey, let's go to Best Buy and go pick up a Series X. I don't think that's going to be the thing for them. I do think the commercials that we see during the football games and, on Nickelodeon and other places where the average person is engaging with a lot of this stuff, that probably matters more than what social media does. And don't get me wrong, shout out to Stein and that entire team on Xbox, because I think they have been just killing it the past year with a lot of the stuff that they've done on social media. It's been very fun and very clever. But I do wonder, and again, I don't know, I'm just speculating here. I do wonder how effective it is to, the average consumer who isn't really engaged in the social media and gaming the way that we are.
Yeah, it's a fun conversation, right, Parris? I think about it just like you talk about your wife, right? I bring up my old job, and when I used to walk in there, everybody knew I was a gamer, right? And we used to engage over that. And I think the biggest one we always talked about was what pushed the needles for consoles was the games. And I think that's what we'll always go back to is games. But I think as we slowly start to pull back a little bit, now that conversation shifts to, well, let's talk about services and let's talk about how much fun it is to engage with this team in social media and like the environment that they're curating right now. Yeah. It is fun, right? Because now I'd walk into work and be like, yo, did you see that crazy Xbox commercial? Or did you see this tweet that they put out? And everybody would laugh. And I don't know if that truly pushes the needle in console sales, but the conversation continues to stick over in that camp, right? I look over at PlayStation, Nintendo, and that conversation's not there, right? I think that's a little more buttoned up. That's a little bit more traditional of, we got the games, we know what our product is, and we don't really need to go out of our comfort zone for this. But I think I like that of like, hey, this is pretty fun over here, and we're having a good time because that's what I want games to be. And it's interesting of like, we're seeing all three do different things and doing what they want to do. And it is interesting, Xbox kind of like doubling down on the fun. And I like that, right? Me as a gamer, I like that. I like to see the fun. I like to be engaged over there. And I kind of like what they're doing, but I don't know if it's pushing the needle quite yet. I think it is games. And it'll always probably be games. But it is interesting to see the extra kind of layer to it that they're adding right now.
Let's put it this way. It doesn't hurt to do it. I think it's a great thing. It's not like it. I'm sure it is definitely helping on some level. Like I said, just speculating. I don't know how much it is helping beyond our quote unquote gaming community. I guarantee you in the gaming community, what they've been doing on social media with a lot of the fun marketing stuff does matter because people are being receptive to it. You are seeing real time the engagement that is happening on there, so yeah, I do think for at least that it does help because, the one thing that we talked a lot about with Xbox and I think this is relevant because we just had a state of play yesterday with PlayStation. It is two completely different approaches that's happening right now. And I think what PlayStation did yesterday was fine for PlayStation because I don't think PlayStation right now needs to do the things that Xbox is doing because I think PlayStation has a reputation that they have the games, right? That's their reputation right now. If you get a PlayStation, the gaming experience that's going to come with it. Whereas I still say Xbox, we see the potential of it. Obviously, we talk about it on the show all the time. I definitely see where they're headed long term. Still not here today. Like I think right now we're right there on the cusp of it. We're so close to it happening, and that's really going to start kicking off this holiday with Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, and then obviously as we go into 2022 with things like Redfall and Starfield and beyond. But they're not in your hand yet. You don't have them in your hands yet. I have Ratchet and Clank. I have Returnal. You know what I mean? I have Spider-Man Miles Morales. I am playing those games. Those are tangible things that I can play and I can engage with. Where Xbox is still selling you on the idea of these great experiences that are coming. And look, obviously we're an Xbox show. We definitely believe that they're coming. I don't think we'd be doing it. But I think to the overall gaming community, they're still in prove-it mode. We're almost there. Yeah. It's literally about to happen. So I don't think there's any worry there. Like obviously we're gonna have the Death's Door interview. We're gonna see the Ascent coming. Like there's so many games, Psychonauts 2, etc., that are coming that are gonna be phenomenal. That's not the issue here. Whereas, like I'm saying, I do think the marketing efforts that Xbox is doing directly to their consumers, the gaming community, does matter right now because it's keeping them engaged with Xbox. I think one very smart thing that Xbox has done this year, they seem to be in the news every week. I don't think we've had a show this year where we're like, man, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I think every week we got something to talk about. And that's good because I do think they need to keep that momentum going until the games actually start showing up. And then the games get to speak for themselves. Like if Halo is everything that we hope it will be, that's all we'll be talking about for a month straight. I guarantee it. As soon as it comes out, every week we'll be talking about some crazy match we had in multiplayer the night before. Oh my God, that story. Like there will constantly be this conversation. But we're not there yet because we don't have the game yet, right? So I think instead, yeah, they do need to have these fun, clever marketing things to keep people engaged with it. Show that here's why Game Pass matters to you. Show the FPS, all this stuff that they've been doing this year, I think does matter. The mini for all that stuff because it's fun. It keeps the community excited. And then when they do deliver on the games, we're right there ready to go.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job. You said it so well of like being right on the precipice, right? We're building that snowball, we're rolling it up the hill, and we're just adding to it, right? Nice and slow. Like it feels like we're right there. We're about to push this thing down the hill, and it's really going to have that big snowball effect of all the games that we're waiting on and hoping to put in our hands. And it feels like that. And I think they're doing a good job, like you said, keeping it fun and engaging. And it's interesting you brought up the state of play. For me, it's like, exactly. I knew what that was going to be. Here's the state of play voice. Here's the games, right? And then they're going to get out, as opposed to Xbox on the other side, where it's like, oh, I know that we're going to see Phil or Sarah Bond come out. We'll get to talk about FPS boosted games. We'll get to talk about the services. We'll talk about xCloud. We'll talk about games. And it's an interesting approach of like, those are so different and they're so unique and you know what they're going to do, but it's so fun to be like, oh, we went from that to this. And it is interesting of what they have and what they get to play with.
Yeah, completely agree. Like I'll take it to this angle. Obviously, I got to host the Xbox Ascended show, and it's funny in the moment while I was doing that. I think I said this every time I sat down and did one of those interviews. I can't wait to get my hands on this, and that's kind of the thing right now. I got to get my hands on them. Like we can talk about them all day, and it's great, and we can get excited. But we don't have our hands on them yet, right? And that's what I'm waiting for. And then that's when I think Xbox kind of shift their messaging and go, let the games speak for themselves. Right now, the games aren't ready to speak for themselves, so they're doing the marketing that they're doing. And look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Trust me, it's been great to see where Xbox has been this year and the momentum that they're building up. And now they just simply got to pay it off.
Yeah, I'm having fun, Parris, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the main point. It's like, I'm having fun and I'm a gamer just like you are, right? And I think everybody listening is just like us, right? We love the games everywhere. And it's just over here, I'm having a good time. They're keeping me engaged. They're making me laugh. They're fun on social media. And I'm having a good time. And I think that fun factor for me really keeps my eyes over there, right? And I think Sony always wows me with the games. Nintendo wows me with the crazy decisions they make and the, Nintendo staples that we know and love. But for me, it's just like, man, I'm having a good time with this while we await that big moment that we are anticipating and we know is coming and we hope is coming and will really pay off. But it is interesting to see this kind of X factors, what I want to call it. And that is the fun that they're bringing into social media. And I wanted to pick your brain and see, like, how far does that go for the average consumer? How far does that go for the true tried gamer that's involved in everything? And it is fun of like you said, right? Does this move the needle with the general gamer? Probably not. They're probably not seeing that. They just see the normal thing they know about the games. But over on the other side, it's like it is keeping people engaged. I think it's bringing a lot of eyes over there, and they're probably seeing their friends talk about it. Then they're like, man, you know what? I could play with them for a low price and just jump in on Game Pass, right? We've seen Blessing and Greg, we've seen Kevin just jump in at a whim because they can do that now, which is really, really cool. Instead of what it used to be a decade ago of like, oh, you don't have the console, that means we can't play together. I'm sorry, you know? And it's like, it's an interesting move right now, and I like what they're doing. Yeah,
I do too. We obviously, talk about it all the time. I think, this God, who said? I forget who said it. I think Shinobi said it on Twitter or something. But he had this graphic where he showed Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and basically all three are doing different things, and that's great. That is so great for gaming because no one is saying one approach is the right way. I think the diversity of the way that we're seeing the industry headed is fantastic because no matter the way that you want to go, there's going to be something there for you, right? And that's what's exciting about it. And we clearly see Xbox is taking this approach of we just want to bring the gaming experience to where you are comfortable playing it, which kind of brings it full circle to what we're talking about with the Halo Master Chief Collection. There's so many different ways to engage with that game right now, and that's great. I love that future thinking, and it's exciting.
Shout out to the team over at Xbox, your marketing and social teams. You know what? Nothing but fun. Continue to bring the fun, continue to bring the positivity into gaming because you're making a splash, and it's a ton of fun to engage with and watch. Seeing the Xbox team retweet Greg Miller as a shirtless pirate and have Sea of Thieves and him having fun is something special. It's something I know I'll never forget. And I think gamers anywhere, if you're watching that and you're engaging with them and you see their replies to each and every one of us, it's like, man, these are moments that we'll never forget. And I think, Parris, I always bring it up, growing up as a kid playing Halo 2 and Xbox and GTA on PlayStation. It's like, I never thought I would engage with Xbox as a brand and like, hear them reply to somebody and like laugh and smile. That's cool stuff. So keep doing it. Shout out for bringing All For One back and making that little I Swear remix with It's All There. And as well for gamers out there, don't forget about the Xbox All Access program. It might be something you want to look at. It might be something interesting to you because it is a really cool program. And I think it's something that we'll see in the future to come and forever. And I think Xbox really wants to keep that around. So shout out to that. Let's take a moment. We're going to kick it to past Parris and Mike. We're going to go check out an interview right now with Mark Foster and David Fenn from Acid Nerve, the creators of Titan Souls and the upcoming action-adventure game Death's Door. So enjoy that interview, and we'll see you in just a couple of minutes after you're done. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We have a special one for you today on the Kind of Funny Xcast. We have Mark Foster and David Fenn from Acid Nerve, creators of Titan Souls and the upcoming action-adventure game Death's Door, to sit down and talk with us about their upcoming release. And who doesn't want to talk about Death's Door? Parris, thanks for getting this interview set up. And guys, hello from across the pond. How are you both doing this morning/evening? I'll start with you, Mark. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. Excited.
David, how are you feeling today?
To talk about the game for once.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah, thanks very much for having us on. I'm excited.
Well, thank you guys, of course, for having us on. And we'll start with that. Of course, Mark, you talk about bringing up, you get to talk about the game. A big reveal. A lot of hands-on previews are now out. And now we get to talk with you and kind of dive a little bit deeper. But let's rewind. A team of two, a big reveal. What was that like to have that showcase throughout the weekend of E3 and at the ID at Xbox showcase? What were you feeling after all the reception?
It's super happy to see like the way people reacted to it for sure, especially after like 3 or 4 years of build up for us, because it was kind of you just can't talk about it really. Like no one knows it's going on, no one knows what you're working on, so it's just kind of you put everything into this project for such a long time, and then just hope that it's like going to be well received. So to have it be well received by people, like people looking excited for it, is really good. Yeah.
David, are you feeling the same way?
Yeah, definitely. It was a really surreal one for us because I think this time around we did do so much work before really anyone had seen the game. So we obviously had a lot of faith in this idea, but we had no idea what it was going to be like when the rest of the world had actually seen it. And then yeah, I think just the day after, we are like, people actually know what the game is now. They know that we're still working on stuff. And yeah, just the fact that it was so positive was really cool. And I think as well, like seeing when we first announced it, we weren't really sure how wide it had spread. And then it was so surreal because seeing it come on at the Devolver and the day of the devs at E3, this reaction suddenly was like, "Oh yeah, I've been so excited for this one." It was so cool to see so many people like already have it on their radar and then just get even more excited for it. So I feel good now. I feel like it's actually hit the right audience and stuff like that.
Well, gentlemen, again, thank you both for joining us. And I have to say, I'm one of those people that I instantly got excited the first time that I saw this game, which ironically enough wasn't until E3 during Day of the Devs, and then obviously the Devolver Digital E3 presentation. And I immediately was telling Mike and the guys, I was like, we got to talk to them. I have to talk about this game because I look at it and it looks you can see the inspirations, but it also looks very unique at the same time. So for people that are watching this, can you actually just explain what is Death's Door? What were some of the inspirations that you had for it?
So I think the starting point for us was we had made our last kind of most well-known game, Titan Souls. And that was a game all about fighting bosses. You only had 1 HP, 1 arrow, and it was set in this very minimal world. But the design constraints of that, they forced us to be really creative in a way where we actually realized that the most fun we had making that game was coming up with all these like original boss designs, these creative ideas. And we just thought, well, we've learned so much making this game. What could we do as a team working on something that's a more fully fledged adventure, like something more similar to a top-down Zelda game with all the exploration, all the secrets, the characters, and the items and combat that you would expect from that. So it's our first kind of foray into a really kind of more big and in-depth game.
You can definitely see that coming from Titan Souls, and hearing you guys talk about that and seeing this team of two. What was that like? Of course, changing the art style as well and going to this new look, this 3D model. What was that like for you too? And of course, keeping that tight combat as well. Were there any challenges and hurdles or good opportunities that you learned from?
Yeah, moving from the Titan Souls kind of art style, which is we really liked it, like kind of pixel art, and taking the same kind of tight controls and stuff and moving to 3D was like something that was very important to us as well. But like the elements of 3D is like you can, if you want to have a character turn around, you can just rotate it. So it was like quite liberating in a way. You can do a lot more in the 3D space, and so that was really kind of exciting to be able to use, and designing these levels as well, which like level design it wasn't like a huge thing in Titan Souls because it was mainly just about the boss fight. So you just focused on these arenas and with some like kind of exploration around the edges. But like this is a lot more heavily reliant on like enemies and level design structures. So having the 3D space there as well was a huge step up. So we had to learn a lot of new skills, but it will hopefully be like a load of different layers to add on to like, the game to make it more interesting for people to play as well.
I also think it probably oh, sorry.
No,
I was just going to say
please.
it contributes to kind of this vibe that we're going for of old meets new. So it's like a game that obviously has some very classic inspirations from, I would say, like the SNES era. But we hope that it brings a lot of modern elements as well. And hopefully it looks like a game from 2021 with like lush visuals. And at the same time, it doesn't lose any of what we love about those older games. It has really good, like responsive and tight combat where, you have that really good feeling of the attacks and the dodge rolls where they happen instantly and the combat's all fluid. So I feel like that was one of our big focus points with the transition to 3D, making sure that we didn't lose that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think just what I was going to touch on, I wanted to come back to level design a little bit, but going on off of what you just said, you can absolutely see the nostalgia in kind of the art design that you have in the game, but it still feels modern. And when I watch it, I go, oh, this isn't, and it felt like a game that you would definitely play in 2021. But going back to level design to kind of, expand upon that, from what I've seen so far, this looks to be almost like a hub world that you're going to have with the way that we're going to be interacting in the world. But is this a thing where it's linear, or can we kind of decide how we want to attack various encounters throughout the game?
I would say that it's kind of a mix of those two approaches, where there is there's almost like two hubs. There's the office that you've probably seen a bunch in the trailers, and then there's this like the world beyond the doors, which is the world that's in color. And there's the center of that where it's called the Lost Cemetery, and from there you can go in various directions. But yeah, it is fully explorable, so you're never really constrained to a linear path. But then the story's kind of broken up into the chapters in a way where you kind of have these clear objectives. But if you do want to take a break from what you're doing, then you do have the freedom to, explore, go back to some old areas, maybe find a few secrets, maybe branch off from the beaten path in certain areas. So it certainly gives you some freedom, but it does also keep you on like a steady track to experience the story.
With the combat, of course, we've elevated it from Titan Souls with the one arrow and the callback. Now we see the sword, we see the bow as well, and we see a couple of abilities. What can players look forward to when it comes to discoverability? How will we elevate those abilities? And what is up with that arrow? I love that balance. If a lot of our best friends have seen out in the community some different hands-on previews, that balance of you get 4 shots and then you have to go back and hack and slash to build those back up. How did you guys find that balance of creating the different combat techniques now?
Well, the core of the combat in the game started with it was the bow and arrow and the sword were the main things that we had at the very start of the project. And the kind of like recharging stuff you do where you have to attack enemies or like just random things in the environment, you can hit them to get your charges back with the arrow. And it's very similar to the Hyperlight Drifter sort of style if you've played that, which we really love. The combat in that game is really tight, and it's a big inspiration on this as well. And we took that and then added in like a few different powers and stuff as well. So as you progress through the game, you get these upgraded abilities like a fireball and a bomb and stuff like that. And they act as like a Metroidvania type of thing, like a lock and key thing. So you can use those to explore new areas and find secrets from like in the old areas that you're exploring as well. So there's always like something around the corner to like go and explore if you get these new abilities. And those can be upgraded as well slightly to give you a little bit of extra, like an edge in combat. So each one has its own use in combat as well. So like the fireball goes through enemies like a piercing shot, and also like homes in on things as it goes through them as well. And if you upgrade that later on, you get like extra benefits from that as well. That's why I'm trying to not like go too far into like spoiler territory or anything.
Right.
But I think that one of the main benefits of having these extra elements to it is both adding depth to the combat and more player choice to the way that you can take on each scenario, but also just being able to make it so that when you explore, because you know you're going to find things that are going to be fun to use and benefit you in combat, it just gives you that extra motivation to explore and learn more about the world, because you know you'll actually be finding mechanical benefits as well.
Oh, it's very nice. I was actually wanted to kind of jump more into some of the RPG elements of the game, but it sounds like you kind of already answered that there will definitely be some player choice there, as we can kind of pick and choose what we upgrade as we go through the game, and that's fantastic. So I want to pivot. Let's talk music. Let's talk the actual soundtrack of the game. What were some of your inspirations there? What were you looking? What is the mood and the tone that you want the player to be able to take away from the music in the game?
I think like the probable biggest inspiration would be Shadow of the Colossus, I'd say, just because it's such a journey of a soundtrack. It's so coherent, and it takes you on this journey. It tells this story, and it's all like so beautiful and effortless. And it's the kind of thing where you could just like sit in the dark and listen to the whole thing. And I think that kind of thing is what I wanted to achieve from Death's Door specifically, which I hadn't necessarily in our past projects. So like with Titan Souls, that was my first ever big kind of console release. And I just wanted to put every idea I'd ever had into the soundtrack. And it was a little bit crazy, a bit mismatched because of that reason. And then with, I also did the soundtrack for Moonlighter, which was kind of it was a really nice soundtrack, really proud of it, but it was a little bit more kind of leaning into the trope. So you had like your desert level that sounded like a desert level. You had your forest level that sounded like a forest level. Whereas with Death's Door, what I really wanted was to have this unified atmosphere throughout the game that gives you a real sense of character for the game world. And it's kind of this, it's quite melancholic, and it represents this world. It's like a world without death, but also without new life. So it has this kind of like almost tired, stagnant sound, but also kind of bleakly beautiful in a way. But then also, I would say on top of that, that I think all the best soundtracks are like, it's always good if you can tell that the composer's having fun. So whenever we had a fun idea, we would always make sure we got that into the game as well. Like there's one area where you kind of start activating these furnaces, and it creates these it starts moving these pistons which are moving up and down throughout the level. And we're like, oh, hang on, maybe we could just sync these in time with the music. And we actually basically made it a layer of the music where you hear this drum beat and you hear these pistons moving up and slamming in time with the music and stuff like that. Like, as a studio, one thing we always try and do is if we ever have like a cool idea just for a little touch, like a little bit of polish for a fun little extra feature, we always think, okay, we need to dedicate some time and get this into the game. So there's a few things like that as well.
I can't wait to hear it, because I was playing Titan Souls last night to prepare for this interview, and the music got me, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see what these guys got next. But there's so many ways we can go with this. But let's talk about you two being a two-person team here, coming off of Titan Souls, and now having some years behind you creating this next one. What has that been like? Is there a lot of responsibilities between the two that you share, that you divvy up? You've talked about reaching out to other artists for help and getting a part of this. What's that like for just being a two-person studio?
Yeah, the core team is me and David, and then David acts as like a producer as well. But we also do work with a few super talented artists. So we've got the main concept artist and art director, Fritz Olsen. He kind of set the tone for the whole game from the start as soon as we got him on board. And then we brought on another concept artist later on, Sarah Morris. And then we have one guy doing all of the 3D models in the game, Juan. He is, again, amazing. They're all like super talented people. But like going to that from like Titan Souls was quite a step up. We didn't like immediately expand into this massive team or anything like that, so it wasn't too overwhelming, but it was certainly like a change of pace to have to like work out, who is going to do what, and keep people on time and things like that. It was another element to it.
So one thing I want to go back to first of all, let me just touch on the fact that you are two people making this game. It absolutely blows my mind, because I'll just say really quick, just seeing some of the games that are starting to come out this year and into next year from these smaller teams, the talent and the skill set that you have is something I could only dream to have. So I want to give both of you kudos for what you're creating right now with this game, because when I saw it, there's no way I thought only two people was making this game. That's just how phenomenal it looks to me. But speaking on that, we didn't really actually talk about the main character and the actual premise of Death's Door. So I just want to make sure people actually understand what that is. So can you kind of talk about who you will be playing in the game and the actual premise that kicks off the events of the game?
Yeah, for sure. So the premise of the game, it's a action adventure set in a world where nothing naturally dies anymore. So this group of crows are in charge of maintaining some sense of order. They work in this kind of strange bureaucratic office where they are tasked with retrieving the souls of the dead. So you play as one of the crows, and you're kind of like a young, inexperienced reaper, basically, and you get sent off on this assignment. Your first ever soul assignment gets stolen, and you end up having to track down the person who steals it into the game world, and basically everything escalates from there. The character itself, we wanted them to be kind of like a cute crow, because it's kind of like crows in general are quite dark and morbid in a way. Like they're kind of associated with death in some ways, like Feast for Crows, like the Game of Thrones book, and they just always seem to come up in these kind of like morbid scenarios, but they're also a cute animal. And the vibe of the game is this kind of juxtaposition between cuteness and darkness, which I think for me, that's one of the things that makes the world so appealing, because you don't want it to just be full on morbid but you don't just want it to be really cutesy with no edge. So you want both of those elements combined to make it a compelling world to be in.
It's really exciting to see that and feel the theme and the look of it. Of course, now we look at the enemies and the things that we're going to fight, which is really exciting, right? And kind of those arenas that you guys talked about from Titan Souls. What kind of enemies will we encounter? You now have not only bosses, but you also have enemies just out in the world that we're going to encounter. What's that going to be like for the player?
We try to keep like a good amount of enemy variation, and like as we introduce them, we kind of do it gradually, and then start to mix the different kinds together to give you like, so you're constantly doing new things and keeps everything fresh. But you start out with some. Well, you actually start out with a boss fight. That's the first fight in the entire game, is the boss fight, because that seems like a good idea. Having that as the first thing, we thought would give you like a bit more confidence when you're playing the game as well. So you get thrown at the deep end straight away, but as soon as you overcome that, then you feel like, oh, I can do anything. I've beat this big boss. It's okay. But then after that, we kind of progress to things like the classic kind of one-shot enemies who will just dance around you and maybe lunge at you. Then you've got like bigger grunt type enemies who actually are through the entire game. They're like, they have different kind of masters as you go through. Like all these grunts are just kind of stupid, like enemies where they will follow whoever is the boss of the area. So they have like different like clothes and different hat or mask per area. And we do a few like interesting like little story things with that as well later on. And then you've got like mage type enemy, which like teleports around and shoots fireballs at you. And we just kind of build on the same things over and over again and just expand on those mechanics and try and make it as interesting as we can. It was quite kind of an interesting thing to do for us, because with Titan Souls, we were just so used to making boss fights, and that was it. Everything was focused on this one enemy. So having multiple enemies at the same time was also like a new challenge, which was super fun to design.
Yeah, you can have a lot of fun now that we can actually have multiple enemies at the same time. Just coming up with different kind of groups to bombard you with creates a lot of variation that we weren't able to have in Titan Souls. And I also think another thing about the enemy design is we really just wanted to have a lot of fun and creativity with it. And we encouraged our concept artists to come up with as weird designs as possible. Like every character and every enemy in the game should have some kind of twist on it that makes it a bit memorable. So we've got one that it's like this headless corpse, but it's wearing a giant stone head as a backpack, and it just rolls towards you and has these like big jiggly eyes. And the one that loads of people have commented from the trailer is the big castle boss, which is one of the early bosses in the game as well. Which as soon as we saw that design, we're like, okay, this is perfect. This is going in the game. Model it now. Get it in the game. Come on, we need it. So yeah,
that was that one was just like a random drawing that a concept artist showed us that he'd done. It was nothing. It wasn't like anything we'd asked for or anything to do with the game at all. But we had a boss that we had in that position in the game, which like fired a big laser, and we're like, we could just make this a massive castle. Why not? And then that kind of influenced the design of the area as well, because we used some of those same like structures to build up like these turrets around the place as well.
And one thing that the concept artist commented on versus other games that he'd worked on before was he was really impressed how many of his designs actually ended up in the final game. Because I guess with a lot of projects, then you might just be a bit more like, okay, like we've got these sketches, like maybe let's try another sketch, let's try some more ideas. But I think he was so on board with our vision for this world from the very start that as soon as we saw these designs, we were just like, we just want them in the game. So we just went for it. I think that's one of the things that makes the game so full of surprises and memorable encounters. We just like any idea we had, we just thought, let's do it.
Well, you can probably see I've been smiling from ear to ear this entire time, because everything that you just described is why when I saw this, I instantly fell in love with this game, and I can't wait for it to come out. But final thing for me, just again to kind of give people an idea, gameplay length, kind of in your play session so far, what's been the average time of start to finish in this game?
I think from people who have played it so far out of the core team, it seems like it's going to be like a 10-hour for a main campaign. And then we've also put quite a lot of work into making sure that you can like continue after the credits and get all the secrets in the world. There's a bunch of unlockable optional content as well. So for people who really like that world and want to dig in more, then there's a bunch more to do, which honestly, I have no idea how long all of the rest of that takes.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's a nice length. Like we certainly wanted it to be a concise story. We want people to finish the game. So I feel like we settled on that sweet spot of length.
I'll bring it back since we're rounding it out here. It is an Xbox podcast, so let's talk a little bit of Xbox. And you guys, of course, working with the team over at Microsoft. July 20th is the release date, coming to all of the Xbox consoles, the Series S and X, Xbox One, and PC. What are we going to see? Because it will be day one optimized. What can players look forward to getting that optimization? And of course, what was it like for you guys working with Team Xbox and kind of honing this game towards that optimization patch?
Sure, yeah. So I think it's been great being part of the Xbox lineup just because they've got so many cool games coming out at the moment, especially with the indies. Like I think the first stream we were in, the games that were also in that were so inspiring. Like things like 12 Minutes really stood out to me. And yeah, so for the Series S and X version, basically they are the ultra max settings of the PC version. Series X is 4K 60 FPS. Series S is 1080p 60 FPS. So I think, yeah, people should be pretty happy.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. That's what we're looking for over here. Really exciting stuff. I'll let you guys give it one more time. So where can all of our audience look forward to this? When is it releasing? What's the price tag? And one memorable moment from the development of this awesome game.
So it is releasing July 20th. You can actually pre-order it now, and there's 15% off for anyone pre-ordering. Just really hope that if you're a fan of the kind of games we make, please check it out. Hopefully you'll all enjoy it.
That's great, you guys. I'm really excited. I know Parris is really excited. I know our whole audience is excited. Everyone at Kinda Funny was really excited after seeing the reveal during the E3 weekend. Everybody can't wait to talk about it and get their hands on it, of course. But it's been a great time sitting down with both of you. This has been Mark Foster and David Fenn from Acid Nerve, creators of Titan Souls. So go out there, play that right now, and get ready for July 20th. Death's Door coming your way. And I know it's going to be an awesome summer game. Thanks for hanging out with us, and let's get back to the show.
This episode is brought to you by Purple. Doesn't it seem like the world's against us from getting a good night's sleep this time of year? It's too hot, the mattress is too stiff, too much is going on. I have the answer for you. Only Purple Mattress have the grid. Its unique ventilated design allows air to flow through to help you sleep cool. They also have the grid in the pillow. I've been using that forever, and I will never use another pillow. It is a game changer. You don't even need to flip it to the cold side because the entire thing is the cold side. It's perfect. It just never overheats. I don't understand it, but it works. Purple is comfort reinvented. Right now, you'll get 10% off any order of 200 or more. Go to purple.com/kindafunny10 and use promo code kindafunny10. That's purple.com/kindafunny10. Promo code kindafunny10 for 10% off any order of $200 or more. PURPLE.com/kindafunny10. Promo code kindafunny10. Terms apply. And next up, shout out to Fitbod. Don't get stuck doing the same workouts. Making progress towards the future you means overcoming new challenges. Fitbod creates a fitness program that continually adapts with new exercises and dynamic intensity that adjusts to how you're progressing. So you'll be challenged to meet your goals at your own pace. Gia's been using this. She's been really loving how easy it is to use and how varied it all is. Just kind of keeping her active. Fitbod is super easy to use and even has HD video tutorials to make learning new exercises a breeze. It integrates with other fitness and health apps like Apple Health, Fitbit, and Strava. Personalized training can be tough on the budget, but Fitbod is only $9.99 a month or $59.99 a year. And right now, you can pick up the pace on your fitness journey with Fitbod today, and your future self will thank you. Get 25% off your membership at fitbod.me/KFgames. That's 25% off at fitbod.me/KFgames.
Welcome back, everybody. You're with Present, Parris and Mike. Parris, that was a really fun interview, and I know everybody's coming off of it, and we kind of pre-recorded that, so it might be a little bit on the back of our mind, but I do want to kick it for just a moment and talk about Death's Door because I'm excited, Parris, and talking with them got me even more excited. Reading all the previews from our friends around the community, it's been really, really cool. And now I'm like really geeked up about this game. So I just wanted to chat with you and see where your levels are at. What's your excitement level right now?
Yeah, same. I feel like actually talking to them, and again, I want to thank both of them for coming on. That just took my excitement up even more to hear them just talk about how they've crafted some of the gameplay and the enemies and the boss. Like literally one of the first things you're going to do is a boss encounter, right? I thought that was a cool little perk in there. The fact that, again, it's a AA game, but the fact that it's 10 hours, but there's still going to be things to do once you finish it was great to see. I believe isn't it $20? I believe that game's
$20, correct.
$20,
and you can get it on sale for like $17 right now. I think it's like a 20% off sale, something like that.
Yeah, which is completely reasonable for the experience I think we're about to get with this game. You can tell they've put their heart and soul into making this, and it's a passion project for them. And it just, the art style, level design that they're going to have. I just love the premise of it. Being the crow and you're in a world where your job is to deal with death and the souls and all that, but no one's been dying, and you finally get a case and you have to go out now and go do that. All of that just really appeals to me, and I'm very excited to jump in. And like I told them before, I fully admit it was not on my radar until E3, and then you had Day of the Devs, and then we saw it at the Devolver E3 event. That's what truly just piqued my interest, and I started ranting and raving about it on Twitter. And then I worked with PR to so we could get them on. I was like, I got to talk to these guys. I want to talk to them about this game. So yeah, very excited to have them on. I want to thank them again for coming on. I can't wait for June 20th. Bring it on.
It's gonna be awesome.
Or July 20th.
July 20th. We're lost on the dates here, but it's really exciting, Parris, because we're gonna have a rockin' end of July with Death's Door into Microsoft Flight Simulator and the Ascent. So we're gonna have some really good games. And I think coming off the back of Hades, I'm really enjoying these top-down roguelike hack and slashes, bang your head until you get better. And this is right up my alley right now. I think, you hear Andy Cortez always talk about Hyper Light Drifter. And it's like, yeah, Andy, maybe one day I'll get into that. This is mine right now. This is the one I want to play, Andy. And it looks good. Like you said, the story is actually got me more engaged and more interested than I thought it would, right? Because the combat is what I saw and what I really liked, right? That dodge roll, that, the hack and slash, but also, hey, there's other weapons to find, right? I didn't know what we were going to have in there, and learning from them of like, oh, there's some hidden secrets that you're going to find, some different weapons and abilities. There's going to be a little bit of RPG elements in that. It's like, oh man, this is exciting. And that 10-hour marker, I think is perfect for me, right? I don't want to get lost in a 60-hour Dark Souls experience right now. I'm looking for that 10-hour experience. And I think for $20, this is right up my alley. This is hitting on all the notes that I'm excited for. And of course, the proof will be in the pudding once we get our hands on it, right? If it's truly legit or not. But from everything we've seen and talking with them, I'm ecstatic and super excited about circling the state on my calendar.
Give me that modern day Link to the Past feeling right now, and that's all that game is. Like
that's what it is. Yeah,
like those trailers and like the interview that we just had. Like that's all that game is shouting at me, and I'm so ready for that. I'm so excited.
Yeah, same. Now you just brought up something that kind of just blew my mind, because I guess I wasn't really thinking about this. So it sounds like within a week period, we're gonna get Death's Door, Flight Sim on Xbox, and then the Ascent. Is that true?
Yep. That is 100% true, Parris.
Oh my god.
You are going to be gaming, and then guess what? The best part is it doesn't stop, because in August we know we get even more games to play.
Oh yeah,
and
baby.
Like you said, you brought it up so well. It's like we're feeling like we're right at that moment, right? And these might not be the huge AAA, tentpole titles that a lot of Xbox gamers are looking for. But this is that value. These are these games that we've been waiting for, because we always talk about it. I think the first quarter to 2 quarters of the year, kind of slow. You have some gems in there, but you're kind of waiting for what's next. Right now, it feels like, gaming is about to go down. And you're going to turn your backlog off, and you're going to start playing, which I'm really excited about. So I can't wait for the end of this month to check all that out. And also to see how Microsoft Flight Simulator plays on my Xbox console, right? Because I put it on the PC, and we did it. But I was like, man, I don't know if the console can handle it. So I'm really excited to see what this team has done, right? It's going to be exciting.
Well, that's an interesting one as well, because, even when I was on the Xbox experience, I was like, dude, what sorcery are you doing to get this to run on the console? But they're obviously utilizing some stuff with Azure to stream some assets in, but they reworked that engine. So even on PC's even going to see the benefit of that when it does come out on the 27th, where it's not going to be so power hungry and just, intensive, power intensive on PC as well. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to try it out on the Series X just to see how it runs, and then I'll jump back on PC as well to check it out there too. Now, another thing, like you're talking about August and everything, like Hades, I've never played it. So that's another one. That's another one for me. I'm excited for that too, man. There's, like you said, these may not be the big AAA games that that everyone's going to talk about, but I think there is just some quality AA experiences that are about to drop. And I know what Hades was Game of the Year last year, right?
Yes, it was one of the Game of the Years.
Yeah, count me in. I'm excited to play this.
Hades is a big deal. I know a lot of people talked about that, and depending on what consoles you have or don't have, no matter what, you're going to be able to play this game, and it's a must play. I think everybody's going to have fun with Death Door, and now you're going to play this. You're going to have a really good back-to-back combo with these two games. And I want to circle back to Microsoft Flight Sim again, because now I'm getting excited, right, Parris? Nothing was cooler than that month when Microsoft Flight Simulator released on PC and people were sharing screenshots. People were flying all across the globe to different areas together. That was such a moment, especially during the year that we just had inside the house during the pandemic, to kind of relive that again over on the Xbox console. I think it's going to be really, really special. We'll see a lot of screenshots. We're going to see a lot of people banging into each other with their friends. And I can't wait to practice my landing techniques again, Parris. I think that was one for me. It's I was always afraid to land, and I tried my best, but I'm going back after it. I can't wait to try again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one quality of life perk that they're putting in here with the update is you land anywhere now. So you're not going to be, chained to just going to one of the airports. You can literally land anywhere you want. And it blows my mind to think that they basically recreated planet Earth inside of Azure in the cloud. You can go anywhere on planet Earth you can go to in that game. So I definitely recommend people on console, when it does come out, give it a try, man. Go in and play, and just it's such a relaxing experience to just pick a destination and say, I'm gonna go here, and then just travel over literally over the entire world, wherever you want to go to that destination, and just take it in for what it is. It's a phenomenal game. It is. Look, it may not be this challenge. Well, it might be challenging if you try to land it, depending on how sim you want to get, but you can make it as casual as you want and just use it as a way to explore planet Earth. I think it's great. So highly recommend it.
So exciting. Fly with your friends, bang into each other, fly over each other, do awesome stunts together, try all the different planes, right? There's so many planes there to get lost in. And it's I think that's one thing that people might forget or might be intimidated to try is there's so many planes there that you could just go wild and try them all. You're going to really enjoy it. And Top Gun, Parris. When Top Gun comes out later on, I can't wait to put on the glasses and have some fun.
And look, and we talked about this already with Sea of Thieves, but I hope to see more of these kind of partnerships happen. Sea of Thieves obviously showed with A Pirate's Life that it can work very well. I'm hopeful they do the same thing here with Top Gun, with this Maverick expansion, that it just integrates perfectly, which I think it will. And it'll be, we talked about it already, but I really want to see other games that potentially they could do this with as well. Because I think that Maverick expansion is going to be a lot of fun. Like you said, go fast. Go fast.
You already got me thinking of Forza and all the cool combinations they've done with Hot Wheels and Lego. I can't wait to see what Forza Horizon 5 does, right? That team has got something special up their sleeve because they've done some really cool collabs.
Can we pause on Horizon 5 really quick? Because
let's pause on it.
Dude, I don't know about you. I don't know about everyone at home when they first revealed that at E3, but dude, I was blown away. I was looking at stuff thinking, oh, that's just CGI trail. Wait, no, that's in game. That's the engine. It's what Playground has been able to do with that. I'm excited for it. I am. I really, and like I've said before, it's not that I've been the biggest Horizon, guy. That hasn't been my go-to thing. I've had fun with it since 3, but I feel like I really want to dive into 5 and just really try and integrate in. I think what they're doing with kind of the seamless multiplayer integration so that you, again, playing with your friends, getting us playing together. I think there's a huge opportunity there. So really looking forward to it on the.
It's wild, Paris. That game is my most installed and uninstalled game on my console to date. Like, I don't know what it is, but me and my friends will just all of a sudden on a Tuesday night be like, man, I want to play Forza, or one of us will be playing it.
Right,
and all 8 of us re-downloading that immediately. We'll just jump in. And like you said, I love the seamless multiplayer and what this is going to look like, because I actually really enjoy Forza Horizon 4, where we can do the races together, right? You can pull up at a race and hit co-op, and bang, your whole crew is in there and we're all racing together. Love the drive-atars because it makes me feel like I'm never driving alone as well.
Exactly.
I love racing Parris's Ghost. I love racing Barrett. I love seeing Gary and like banging into Gary all the time and just laughing. It's like, that was such a cool idea that they put in, and I can't wait to see what's next, right? And it's really, really fun. And so, yeah, shout out to that team. I can't wait for this fall, Parris, and the collabs, right? What's going to be that cool collab? What's going to be that expansion when they get to it? Because I'm sure it'll be something really, really cool. Up next, Parris, I want to keep talking about something cool, okay? Because you knew I grew up in probably the golden age of gaming where we had it all and we were playing everywhere. And I think back of like Pimp My Ride, right? We had TVs in the headrest and we had cool screens for on-the-go gaming. And you, me, and Gary talked about this. And if you're an Xbox fan, you probably saw this a while back. But there's somebody out there making a screen for your Xbox Series S. And guess what, Parris? It's in Kickstarter mode now as of yesterday. So I want to talk about the Xscreen for gaming on the go. That portable screen we saw a couple months ago is now on Kickstarter, and it actually hit its goal in less than 20 minutes after going live. So I'll give you a quick rundown from their Kickstarter so we can talk about this. The product, the power and performance of the Xbox Series S can now be taken anywhere. Xscreen perfectly complements the stunning aesthetic of the Xbox Series S to create a single cohesive unit. The Xscreen transforms your Xbox Series S into a laptop form factor that can be easily transported and used anywhere there is a power outlet. An 11.5-inch screen, 1080p, 60 hertz, and a built-in speaker. The screen will fit over the Xbox Series S. Of course, the team behind the product is UpSpec Gaming, an Australian-based startup focused on designing and selling unique gaming accessories. The company is founded by 2 Kiwi brothers who have been gaming together for over 30 years. Xscreen is the first product from UpSpec Gaming, with several other products already in the pipeline. And Parris, I mean, this is the coolest, right? I mean, I think back to me in the GameCube, and we used to drive up to Copper Mountain in Winter Park, and it was like a 3.5-hour drive from Boulder. And we used to beg my mom and dad, please bring the GameCube. I got to play NBA Street. We got to play a game. And we'd shove that dumb screen on top of it. And it was like 2 inches, right? And we'd get as close as we could. But those are memories I'll never forget. And seeing that dream kind of stay alive with the Vanguard briefcase, right? That's super expensive. To this now just gets me excited, Parris. I love gaming and the cool possibilities you get from it.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool concept, them being able to do this. So I do hope that it does take off. And the Series S is the perfect size because it's very portable. So yeah, you can take this anywhere you want to go, be able to play your games. I think this definitely has potential. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's fun. Barrett just put up the video for everybody watching on YouTube, but like how that clicks into the back. It doesn't take up any of the extra ports, right? And still has the pass-through for your power ports. They even said the expandable storage port will still be available as well. But the idea of that form factor, like you brought up, right? How light and easy it is to grab that Series S. I can already imagine picking that up, shoving it in my backpack with the screen on, and we're off to my friend's house, or I'm on vacation. And I know, cloud gaming is a big thing right now that we're talking about on the go, but like it is cool, right? Cloud gaming is only on Game Pass games. It doesn't have my full library. This is a little bit different alternative. And I think they're striking at such a cool opportunity to kind of put this out to market and have some fun with it, which is cool. Look at that.
That's wild. Like that, it'll be that size just with the screen, because like, Mike, we've done streams like back when we were in the old studio with like the kind of cases that we have to open up, and like
the Vanguard.
And like we have to like shove in the PS4 there, and it's a little chunky, and just to have something that sleek and tiny is awesome.
Yeah,
really
because
awesome.
It's like I'm holding the S right now, just to people that are listening to this on audio. This thing weighs nothing. I mean, it's so easy to be able to take on the go with you. So if this Xscreen thing takes off, I mean, it's like a no-brainer. Why not? Why not have it? Why not be able to take this thing on the go and be able to play games connected to a hotspot you can play online too?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's one Paris as well. I think we had those screens and like that cool time capsule of Pimp My Ride and stuff like I talked about. But like over this past generation, I think that kind of went away, right? I think it was more like at home focus. There wasn't like, oh, go out in the car with and like plug it into the ashtray, the ashtray lighter and plug in your screen. Like I don't remember any of that from this last generation. So shout out to these two Kiwi brothers. Best of luck to them. If you're interested in it, go check them out over on Kickstarter. It was already funded. You can get, whatever crowdfunding goals or perks that you want to check out from them. But I thought we should look at it because it brings back a whole lot of memories to me. And I think it's fun and it's exciting to see that that's kind of still alive, right? And what's the price point going to be? Because those Vanguards, I would love one of those awesome briefcases. Yeah. But A, it's heavy, it's big, and it's very expensive. So I look forward to seeing what this team has created and how much money it's going to come out to be at the end of the day.
Like I'm thinking, because now that the world is opening back up a little bit, you could legitimately take this on the airplane with you and stand it up, and you're playing whatever you want.
No doubt.
So, yeah.
Oh, Parris, that's gonna sit on your tray table so perfectly. You know it. It's gonna be perfect. Yeah. So really fun one. Let's keep the fun going with the final two stories of the day. FPS Boost Alert, Parris. We got a fun one. Not a big announcement game-wise with a bunch of games, but one big game and an important game announced this week. Dark Souls 3 will join the FPS boosted lineup, taking the game up to 60 frames per second. So now you can go out there and bang your head some more and die and continue to try to live a little bit more in Dark Souls 3. A fun one for me because I love that game series. I love all those games, and cool to see Dark Souls 3 get some love. Parris, will this make you jump back into it?
Yeah. Not me, because I don't want to die. Game's tough. But it's funny. I saw Jason Ronald put a tweet out about that because someone asked him, like, I don't know what the person said exactly, like, why did it take so long? And he was like, well, we had to test it. We kept dying so much. So it took a little while longer to get this one, fully QA'd and tested. But yeah, again, it just goes to show you, like we've said many times about FPS Boost, it gives these older games a second life. It kind of modernizes them because it's increasing the frame rate, so it feels like a modern game, that's playing at these high frames, which is great. That's the whole thing that we have now with gaming. Like we just talked about Doom Eternal, is like you can play that game at 120 frames per second. It's insane, on a console. So to see some of these older games get love like that too is fantastic.
It's the best, Parris. And I know I sound like a broken record, but like, it makes me smile so much when Jason Ronald and his team announce this stuff, whether it be FPS boosted or backwards compatible games, because it just continues to drive value for me as a gamer with my library. I don't know what it was, Parris, but last generation, I made the switch where I went fully digital and I bought like all of my games digital. I'm like 550 games on my game library that I bought digitally. And like, to see that always be with me and to know that some of these games are getting that treatment and that love to make them still relevant and like super playable makes me smile so much, Parris, because that is important to me. I put a lot of my money and time into building that kind of digital library, and to see this team be like, hey, Mike, like we see that and we're going to drive some value in that really makes me feel good as a gamer so much.
Oh, completely agree. And wow, so 550, huh? 550 digital.
550 digital games on my Xbox from last generation into this. And it's been wild to see that. I think it's so weird, Parris. I don't remember the last game I bought physically. That's the wildest part about this. Yeah. I feel bad for my local video game shop because I go in there and they see me and I'm smiling. I'm giving them the finger guns. And they're like, you got any games that you're looking forward to? I'm like, I'm going to buy digitally. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Then I buy like some old original Xbox or PS2 game. But it's truly, it's so wild. It's the truth to me. It's like, I am fully digital now and I love every moment of it. And seeing the value be driven, having those games carry over with me, that's important to me. And I absolutely love what they're doing. Love it so much.
Yeah, they're doing such a great job with that.
Let's round it out with some Game Pass talk. Of course, it's the start of a new month, which means we got some new Game Pass editions coming your way and some Game Pass subtractions. So listen up right now. Let's talk about what is added to the service right now. You have Dragon Quest Builders 2 available on cloud, Tropico 6, available on cloud, console, and PC, and UFC 4 on console, available now, thanks to EA Play. Big UFC fight this weekend. When you're listening to this, Conor McGregor is back in the octagon, and I'm sure that will drive some people to play UFC 4. Coming July 15th, you have Blood Roots on cloud, console, and PC. This is a game that Greg Miller wouldn't shut up about, so go check that out. Tell me if it's any good. Farming Simulator 19 on cloud, console, and PC, and The Medium coming to cloud as well. Leaving soon from EA Play on July 14th, EA Sports UFC and EA Sports UFC 2 will be taken from the service. And then on July 15th, Endless Space 2 on PC, Downwell on PC, and Crosscode Cloud, Console, and PC will be taken off the service as well. Remember to go play them, and you also get a discount if you're in love with those games and you got to have them for your library. Go check it out. But that's your Game Pass update for the month. Any standouts to you, Parris?
Yeah, the Medium coming to cloud, I think it's interesting because I think it's a perfect game for cloud, because it's not very, twitchy. If it's a little laggy, I think it's okay. So I would recommend people, if you've not played the Medium yet and you want something to test out on cloud, the Medium probably be a good one.
Now, I might be wrong. That's a great poll right there, Parris, and I want to pause and talk about that. I might be wrong, but is this the first Xbox Series X exclusive game now just only on cloud? Because that game was using the two worlds. You and I and Greg, we talked about it for our review, but I think to myself, man, this is only possible because they upgraded the server blades and now it's on cloud. That's so interesting. I didn't even think about that, Parris. It kind of just walked past my mind.
Yeah, it's funny because when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense because now everything's on Series X and this one can't be played on an Xbox One. So yeah, I definitely recommend people check it out.
Check it out for sure. See what Bloober Team created. That team is getting a lot of love lately, right? And we've seen them now. They've teamed up with Konami on a unannounced game. We don't know what it is. They have a partnership going on, but we'll see what they continue to do with the horror franchise and what they're going to do next. But shout out to that team, right? I didn't love the game, but I loved the letter at the end. I love seeing their growth of what they've done over the years with the different game franchises they've created. And so to see them get in that partnership and continue to grow, I think that's you and I, we've always talked about it, right? Of like that kind of space right there. Sometimes it is do or die. Sometimes the teams fold, or sometimes they move on to great partnerships that keep that team alive, growing, and getting better after every single one. So really exciting, and best of luck to the team over at Bloober Team. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely. And it just a pause on that one for 1 second. Yeah, I agree because I didn't love the Medium. I thought it was okay. We obviously did the review earlier this year, but there's so much potential in that world of the Medium that I would love to see them take the lessons learned that from people that played the first one and go, okay, how can we, because, not to spoil anything, but there's clearly setting up for more in this world, right? So I would love to see that be explored more. And so I'm hopeful. And obviously we know Bloober Team just did the deal with Konami, knock on wood, potentially Silent Hill. I guess we'll see. So let's see what else that team can do, and hopefully we'll get more from the Medium universe.
Really exciting. Let's get out of here with your final one. A quick heads up for you. Crush a high and tight fastball deep to right field, or simply crush some skulls. RBI Baseball 21 and Dead by Daylight are both available for Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass Ultimate members for free-to-play weekend, Thursday through Sunday. So go check it out. I will say I've never been a big fan of RBI Baseball, especially now that we have the show on Game Pass. But I will say this, Dead by Daylight is an absolute blast. A really, really fun 4-on-1 asymmetric game that you should really check out. You can play custom games with your friends. You can, of course, join lobbies as the survivors and or killer. And I got to say, this is probably one of my favorite ones when we look at that kind of genre of The Predator, Friday the 13th. I think back of Evolve on that one as well. Dead by Daylight has really done a great job. They have a really cool community in there, a lot of diehard players, and a fun game to learn and play, whether it be alone or with your friends. So go check out Dead by Daylight. I think you're going to have a good time with that one. Parris, been a great time. We had an awesome interview. Yes. We got to catch up, just you and I. We talked about the fun in marketing and Team Xbox, what they're doing over on all their socials. And I got to say, it's always a blast hanging out with you, Parris. I loved it. It's been
absolutely
great.
Every time. Hopefully, when Gary comes back next week and bring Carrie Ann Moss with them, talk about the Matrix. It'll be great.
You never know who he could show up with his rights, you know? He might be stuck in the Matrix. Who knows what we'll see? But of course, we will catch you all next week. Parris, where can everybody find you? What dope stuff are you doing this weekend? And of course, go Bolts. We didn't even get to talk about that.
We didn't even talk about it. Yeah, go Bolts. Tampa Bay Lightning back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. I told my son this, and it's true, because just Tampa sports in just the past 12 months has just been insanity. I told him when the Bolts just won, I'm going to remind you again, what you are witnessing will probably never happen again. So enjoy this to the fullest, because the Bucks are the Super Bowl champs. Lightning are 2-time Stanley Cup champs. The Rays were obviously contending this year, got to the World Series last year. This may never happen again. It probably won't. It won't happen in my lifetime again. I'll be dead if this ever happens again. But enjoy it. Like, we're gonna go see the Bucks when they come out here to SoFi when they play the Rams in September. So it's like, just soak it up. Like, I've never seen Tom Brady play before live.
Wow.
So
Cool.
I'm just gonna soak all this in and just run with it and enjoy it. So yeah, it's an exciting time for sure. And where people can find me, obviously I'm here on Kind of Funny. You can find me over at Gamertag Radio. I'm on YouTube channel, which is my name, Parris, Parris, and I'm on social media at Vicious696.
That's awesome, Parris. And yeah, a really special one going on right now. Don't forget that the NBA Finals are live. You got a great matchup between Phoenix and Milwaukee. Some must-watch basketball games, which is going to be exciting. And of course, a whole lot of awesome content coming from Parris and the team over here at Kind of Funny. So go check us out over on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, SnowBikeMike. You can find me on all of my social medias at SnowBikeMike. And one final reminder, don't forget to go check out the latest big social push all about the new studio opening up on Kind of Funny Day, January 2022. You don't want to miss out on seeing a little glimpse of what that studio is all about. The spare bedroom, but about times 50. So you're going to want to check that one out. That's enough for us. We're out of here. Be good to one another. Be safe. Play a bunch of games. And most importantly, go take a step outside. Walk down the block. Enjoy the summer sun. Enjoy the world around you. And we'll see you back here next week, gamers. Peace.